Hey, it's Dr. Karin, and we're going to talk today about forgiveness and the power of forgiveness and how it actually, through your spiritual awakening journey, is the gateway to love. Now, forgiveness can be oversimplified. It seems like, yeah, why can't you forgive them? And it can be super difficult. So I'm going to give you some insight into the process of forgiveness so we can simplify it for you so that you can move forward and open the gateway to love that's going to bring in all kinds of new possibilities. Let's get started. So let's talk about what forgiveness means first and foremost. I'm going to be probably telling you some things that you've never heard before, and it's going to change everything for you. Forgiveness does not mean that it's okay what this person did to you. My guess is that you're here watching this video today because there's probably one person in particular or one experience that you've had a really hard time letting go of, and you're really ready to forgive. So that's really great news. These are going to be the right words that you're getting at the right time to get you to the place that you really want to be, and that is free from carrying this backpack, this negative weight of unforgiveness. So to be clear, forgiveness does not negate what happened. It does not mean that it's okay what that person did to you. It does not mean that they get a free ride through the rest of life and that there are going to be no consequences. What forgiveness is actually an act of self-love. When we're in a state of unforgiveness, we're actually carrying the burden of whatever it was that happened in a backpack of emotion on our physical, emotional, spiritual, mental body. We're actually the one that's being burdened with such a heavy weight that we're unable to move on. We're unable to open up portals of opportunity for new relationships because that person energetically and whatever happened with them is a part of our being. And guess what, my friend? Very, very likely they ain't carrying no backpack over there. They've gone on and lived their life footloose and fancy free. They're not feeling the weight of it. They moved on. They are doing just fine. You're the one that is actually punishing yourself for something that you actually already had a negative experience with. So if you're here today, let's be in agreement that it's time for that to be over. This forgiveness process is not about them whatsoever. You don't have to notify them. You don't have to have any contact with them whatsoever. This is about you, and this is about you letting go of that thing that you've been carrying all this time. So let me be really clear about forgiveness, and this is going to clear it up for you. You probably never heard this. I actually got this from my mom, who's a pastor who preaches this in sermons, and I love it. So the word forgive, let's break it into two words. Forgive, to give forth. Forgiveness actually means to give forth. And the metaphor of the backpack is actually a decaying wound that is like necrotizing and infecting your body. When you're carrying old trauma and old pain and you keep reliving it and reliving it, it is actually really damaging your body. It's causing dis-ease in your body. It will make you sick. They actually say that lack of forgiveness is horrible for the organs, specifically the kidneys and the liver, and that it can give you the big C word, cancer. It can actually, and I'm not saying all people that have cancer are holding on to unforgiveness. I'm not a medical doctor. All I'm saying is that there is usually a spiritual root of an agreement with a negative energy that has embedded itself in your body that contributes to the body physically accepting disease, because that energy causes your cells to have negative experiences in your body, which will let bacteria and viruses and disease and all of that in. And we don't want that for you. We want you to live a long, happy life. So let's let go of all this negativity that's on you so that you can be free. So if you're ready, what I want you to do in this process of giving forth is, first of all, let's give this experience meaning. Now, I hope that you've actually gotten some healing. If you've been traumatized, it's really important. I'm a trained therapist. I used to be a licensed psychotherapist. I used to specialize in trauma, and I really believe in trauma therapy. If you've been traumatized and you're still holding any of that trauma, it's really important in this process that you tend to your physical and emotional healing first, okay? Before you move on and can find this passageway, find a trusted counselor, find a trusted trauma therapist, and work through that. Speak your voice, tell your story, and really, really heal that trauma wound in you, okay? In you, that's so important. Once you've healed that trauma wound and you've given voice to it, you're able then to stop looking at the specifics and be so attached to all the little stories that happened and be so micro-focused on it. And what that healing causes you to do is to get more of a bird's eye view, more of a up and out view of what happened. If you can find yourself in that kind of up and out view as more of an observer instead of a victim of the experience as you're giving forth this trauma wound, this pain of your body back to God, back to the universe, if you can pull yourself out and find meaning, you're going to accelerate your process of forgiveness and find a really great outcome on the other side. So look at the experience and say, okay, albeit very painful, although I really experienced possibly a trauma, what did that really teach me? One of the things that those kinds of experiences usually teaches you is how to, number one, love yourself, how to protect yourself, how to only allow certain experiences and people into your life, and how to really honor your own intuition first, okay? So often those teach us that, you know what, it's time to stop agreeing to things that hurt my soul, and I really want to do better next time. First of all, let me state this too. What you've got to avoid in this process is judging past you with your present knowledge. So you may have agreed to, maybe you lost a lot of money, maybe you were betrayed, maybe you agreed to be in an unfaithful situation or painful or abusive or a situation where you were abandoned, you were hurt in some way. The you now that has this observer perspective, the worst thing you can do is go back and do a lot of talking or ruminating over, I wish I would have, finding regret about it, doing things that make you feel guilty and shame, because when you do that, you place yourself at the lowest state of vibrational consciousness, which is shame, and we don't want that for you, because then when you're at shame, you can't be a creative, productive, loving, amazing person. You can't be who you really are. So no more shaming yourself about what you could have, would have, should have done, because listen, when you were back in that situation, you handled it to the best of your ability based on what you knew to be true, what you believed about yourself and this person and the world at the time. You now have had time to reflect on it. You've had time to get more knowledge. You've had time to likely research it. You know more now. You wouldn't agree to that now, probably, likely. So the worst thing though that you can do is, instead of saying, wow, I grew and now I'm this very wise person over here on this side of it, and I will never agree to that again. Thank you for teaching me that. The worst thing you can do is say, gosh, regret, shame, I wish I would've, and stay in that place, okay? Hope you see the difference there. So let's move past that regret rumination and move towards acceptance that it happened, agreement that you had some kind of soul contract that was here to help you grow. All things will be returned to you in divine compensation. You will find the love and abundance that you desire as long as you line up with that intention in your life. And we're gonna move forward with that energy. So it's important to recognize as you're moving forward with that energy that we stop having an energetic bond with the person that hurt you, because the more you're thinking about regret, the more you're telling the story again, the more you're telling it on future dates or to your best friend or on a trip that you take with your besties, the more you're going back and reliving that, the more you're resurrecting that bond with that negative experience, okay? So what we want to do is just be able to say, you know what, I was really hurt. The past is what hurt me. I really don't want to tell the story anymore because it's not relevant in my life anymore, and move on. Because if you activate those feelings again of unforgiveness, resentment, and pain, you're going to reactivate your energetic bond with that person. And by the way, they're going to be fine. They may feel it, may not. But if you really want to walk away from this and forgive them, and this could be a parent, it could be a sibling, if you really want that bond severed, of that bond of pain, through prayer and meditation, you can ask that that bond of pain be severed, that you've learned your lesson, that you no longer agree to it. Ask Archangel Michael to take the tethers of the pain from your energy body, and you can do this also in a salt bath, and the salt bath resets your energy field, and ask that any tethers, any roots of pain are removed from you, and then refuse to, and that they're taken into the white light of God, and then refuse to in the future speak about it, explore it any further, go back into the emotion, because we want to keep that disconnection really, really clean. Before I give you a few more tips and some ways to really, really solidify this forgiveness process, if you really like talking about how to heal from pain from past relationships and how to move forward, first of all, like this video. Second of all, go ahead and click the bell button and subscribe to my channel so that you get videos like this that can help you along your journey in the future. Let's get back to talking about forgiveness. So we're talking about clearing your energy field, and part of that is letting go of those contracts with the pain. And I'm talking about soul contracts that you're not conscious of, that you didn't realize that you agreed to. But I believe, in my belief system as a spiritual teacher, that every situation we go through, especially the painful ones, we've actually agreed to on a soul level always, always, always to help us grow. But in this process, every decision to grow is your choice. You can choose to go back, stay in the old story, retell the old story a million times, and that's your choice. It's not good or bad, it just is what it is, and it's your choice in this life to do that. I know many people, you probably do too, that choose to do that. They continue to tell stories about their parents, how painful it was to grow up in their home, how narcissistic their ex was, and it just goes for years on, and they're always trying to one-up you with stories, and the story stays so alive, and so does their bond with that person and with that pain. We don't want that for you. We want you to purify your energy body. And by doing that and asking that those bonds be cleared, I want you to take it one step further. And I want you, when you're meditating and praying that those bonds be cleared, I want to clear all contracts with that person. And so what you can do, and I learned this from Karin in one of her awesome videos, and I've used this, and it actually is part of my own purification process that I myself have been going through this year. So on a personal note, I've held on to a lot of unforgiveness from specifically my 2 ex-spouses because of things that they did to me. Of course, now I know that it was soul agreement. There was a lot of karmic healing that was going on, and I've been able to see it from more of an observer perspective as the years have gone on. And it became really clear to me this past year as I was up-leveling in my own spiritual practice, teaching things like this, that I really was called on a soul level to purify my life. So we're actually on a friendly level, so I actually reached out to them. I would not say that's necessary or even something you may want to do unless it feels really right for you, because I knew it would be healing for both of us, each of the relationships. I did a prayer for myself that released me from those contracts and them. And I wanted them to know that I forgave them, because there had been times over the years where we were re-engaging in fights, maybe fights over the kids, fights over this, fights over the past, things were coming up. I was being triggered because I'm still human. I wanted it to be over. I didn't want to keep dropping myself, because whenever I would do that, I would drop to that low vibrational place of shame and anger and all that. And then I would be, angry with my kids for a few days. I would step on things. I would just, things wouldn't go right, and you can tell when your vibe is off because you bump into walls, you fight with anyone that's around you, you can't get your hair to look right. I mean, things just don't go right because your vibe is off. And I was agreeing to going back when those fights would happen, and then I would fall again. I would fall off my cloud, and I would have these really wonky experiences, and it became super clear. Spirit said you need to purify, and the way to purification is forgiveness. So I did the prayer that I'm giving you right now. I did the cleansing, and I called both of them separately over a period of a couple of weeks, and I said, I want you to know that you're released. I'm not going to bring up, it makes me want to cry because it was really, really powerful. I told both of them, I'm not going to bring up the past again. Like, even though that thing that you did, those things that you did were really bad, really bad. It's not serving either of us to bring it up. I don't want to keep trying to punish you because it's dropping both of our vibrations. And you know what? That's not good for anyone. I choose to move forward, and I release you, and I forgive you from that bond that we have. And they both cried. It was a beautiful moment for us. But mind you, this had been years for one of them. It had been decades once this happened. But I just wanted to share that really poignant moment with you because it was a really life-changing moment for me that just recently happened. For you, part of that prayer that I learned from Karin is just simply, in your process, do your cleansing bath, ask Archangel Michael not only to cut the cords, and you can do it in the bath, but to remove the tethers of the connection you have with them. You're very powerful. You can do that yourself. Ask that they be taken into the white light of God, because if you just cut them, the roots can stay. So remove them. You'll know where they are. Ask your body where they are. Any pain agreements with them, they often embed themselves, especially for females, down here, but they're always in the heart as well. So remove those tethers, send them into the white light of God, and then ask that Archangel Michael assist you in pulling that contract up that you have with the pain between you and this person, that the contract of reliving it is done and complete. It is null and void, and that you'd like it to be ripped up, and envision yourself or Archangel Michael ripping the contract up. Ask that it be taken into the white light of God. And if you are in the belief system I'm in, I believe there is such a thing called the Akashic Records, which hold all of these contracts in there. Ask then that the Akashic Records reflect the decimation of this contract and declare that it is done. And when you do this kind of a prayer, and however you like to end prayers, whatever your higher power is, they're all here to assist you. Know that in that moment, in the frequency that we are in now, in these higher vibrational times, you can end that in that moment and move forward with a life that fully embraces new relationships, that align with you, that feel good to you, that are no longer causing you pain as you step into this new level of being a spiritual being, having this human experience, who deeply wants to be loved and who deeply deserves to be loved. Good luck. Let me know how your process goes in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you love talking about healing and how to move forward in your life and cleanse yourself from past pain, I have a free masterclass that's going to serve as a stepping stone just for you on activating this rebel soul in you that is no longer going to agree to the way things used to be and is ready to step into this new way of being. I'd love to see you there, totally free. Click the link below to jump into that class. I can't wait to see you there.